is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. This right here is the Flex Network. Yeah. Flex on G. Flex.
Oh, yes, everybody. We are going to let the music play just a little bit. I've got Says rolling. He is just rolling right now. Says why?
It's
Says,
that,
why?
dude. Every time that intro gets me, it's just you're a beautiful human being, man. That it just cracks me up for some reason. I can't hear that intro and not get in a good mood.
Dude, thank you so much. Says we are here live again. Shane Seeley. Shane, at Seeley _Shane for just 2 seconds. Shane, can you just describe to us how well our week 1 went for our flex plays?
Matt, let me tell you, I'm so excited. I just get jacked up. I'm getting sweaty. I'm a little bit hot. Are we ready?
Sweaty.
Hold on a second. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Oh, we gotta go. Network
flex, baby. We flex. We had such a good week. We got a fucking t-shirt. That's what you do.
Man,
flex, baby.
Look at that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What an amazing reveal. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Good for you, man. Yeah. So again, we hit on Allen Robinson.
Oh my God.
You hit on Scary Terry McLaurin.
Oh my goodness. We hit on Terry McLaurin. D.D. Westbrook ended up with a touchdown. Will Fuller had a pretty good game. Not bad. CJ Uzoma produced. CJ Uzoma, Al.
CJ Uzoma. Al, you didn't even know this guy's name.
But I knew it was a good deep flex play. I mean, he put up like 10 fantasy points. I mean, that one John Brown hit. I mean, it was just it was victory lap city, which is usually not a very tasteful thing to do. But we're not very tasteful guys. So
no, why would you be tasteful?
No,
not at all. Are we tasteful? Okay, guys, thank you. We are getting to our week 2 waiver wire pod dropped early this week. Okay, we were just salivating at the top of the list, guys. What we want to do, although right now to start our podcast out, is we want to get to our roster watch rewatch. Okay, roster watch. Our friends over at SiriusXM, they dropped a podcast, another waiver wire podcast with some great tidbits to help all of us get through our waiver wires on top of the Flex Network. If you guys hang out for just a little bit, we have our magical flex plays on the week again. We have again our Survivor content. We got the win in week 1, even though it was a scary win for Philadelphia. Go ahead, Seth.
I was just going to say, okay, so, you were giving me crap while it was going on. We did pick Philly in Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the perfect team to pick because if everything goes right, of course Philly's going to win. You want the team that's going to win when everything's going wrong, and that's who Philly is.
That's horrible. And you know what? No, I'm not going to take this. That's bullshit. The team everybody wants. You're making our buddy Mike just I think he's getting a little bit tight in his pants. That's all I'm going to say.
Tight in the pants.
A little tight in the pants. The more Al talks about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh no, I don't care about the Eagles. I just care that we advanced to week 2 in Survivor.
Oh yeah.
We advanced to week 2 in Survivor. We were laying it on thick to the man, says Lowski here. I got a little nervous. Shane, you forgot we flexed on my deep defense of the week.
Oh yeah.
I said I came out publicly and stated that the Tennessee Titans would beat the Browns in week 1. I was scalded with I almost said hot iced tea, okay? Which is inherently is what iced tea does when you get hot. It's hot. But I was almost scalded with some hot coffee.
So do you think the Browns? Do you think the Browns are bad, or do you think that the Tennessee is actually going to end up being one of those like top 5 defenses and they just shut down a great offense?
Go ahead, Shane. You got the T-shirt on.
Let's go on flex.
Oh, dude, that is sick. That is sick.
Think first and foremost, I think the Titans, well, perhaps a boring team, not one of the more exciting teams to watch. They're definitely one of the better teams in the league. I mean, they made the playoffs like last year. And I think that they're kind of underrated, right? Like Marcus Mariota, this is, as Al, you say it all the time, it's a make it or break it year for this guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that he's actually healthy. He's got freaking nerves that actually work in his arm. To me, that's a pretty important thing for a quarterback. They have our boy Derrick Henry, who we love. He went off last week. Finally, guys, I guarantee you, they saw like Mike Vrabel saw our podcast, guys.
I mean,
Mike Vrabel must have saw our podcast where we interviewed Mandarin Mustang High School head coach Bobby Ramsey, Derrick Henry's high school head coach. He is about to play on ESPNU against Sandalwood in Florida. It's a big rivalry game where we have 2 top 10 ranked high school quarterbacks going against each other, one of which is coached by Coach Ramsey, starter Carson Beck. Look out for him in Devy leagues. But of course, if you listen to the Flex Network podcast, you will flex on your leagues, okay? Or you will be left on a hill dying. But that's okay, because if you listen to me, let's die. I'm ready to die, okay? I'm ready to jump into a pool of bodies, and I'm ready to shake that thing up, okay? That's what the Flex Network does. That's who we are. But then you have the more, settle down, Matt. Okay, let's actually use sound advice. And that's why at Alan Seslowski and at Sealy Shane _Shane are here to help calm us down. Okay, because we just want to flex on our teams this year. Go ahead. Kevin S. said, you didn't tell me you had Mr. Clean and the Beastie Boys guy on your podcast.
I mean,
I love the Beastie Boys.
Mix and match the mic. What you got to say?
I didn't know this was going to turn into a roast.
Uh-oh.
Who said this? Beck? Macho Man. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Anyway, let's start off with our Rosterwatch rewatch pod.
Let's do it.
Guys, this week Rosterwatch dropped their waiver wire podcast number 161. Now, guys, if you're tuning in, we are bred from the brainwave mindchild of at Rosterwatch. Put it up. At Rosterwatch, hosted by the one and only Alex, Byron, and the Trash Man. They are comprised of some of the sweetest fantasy assets on SiriusXM, and we are here to help you understand what we are doing here. Rosterwatch is the golden nugget of SiriusXM. Rosterwatch is at the Pro Days, at the Senior Bowl. They put their hands up the sweaty shoulder pads of these actual players. Saquon Barkley. We might have got a couple ass taps onto Saquon Barkley in his time. Okay, we are there. We can smell him. Byron hangs out with the big toilet clogging linemen. Okay, Byron.
That's my favorite. I love when he says it just kills me every time.
The toilet clogging.
Yeah, because you can just picture these big muscle
burly linemen,
and it's the duty in the toilet coming over the water. It's just it creates
just
a visual.
Clogging it. So Rosterwatch known for getting out there on the field in training camps and getting the real information that just none of these other fantasy content providers can do. And Rosterwatch is great. My favorite tool at Rosterwatch right now is their snap counts, touches, and targets. Okay. Any game you want to pick, any team, click the team, get the snap counts, touches, and targets. It's what I use to develop my flex plays on the week. Then they have a matchup tool. In their matchup tool, they give their proprietary analytics from being in the game, not really in the game, but of course on the field during the practices and preseason. So they don't just go by previous year ranks. They don't go by previous year fantasy points allowed on defenses. They know the guys coming into this new defense for these rookies. They understand the players. They've seen them at the Senior Bowl. They know what kind of motors these guys have. So if one guy affects change, but you don't know them because they got drafted in the 5th round, that's where Rosterwatch hits. And they slam home the idea that these guys are going to change the game. And
Hey,
they
Matt,
do. Go ahead, Shane.
You know who's going to change the game?
The Flex Network.
Well, no, obviously.
Okay.
This is what you call a segue. So who did Byron call? He dropped the G word, guys. He dropped the generational talent. Preseason back in April. Who was he talking about?
Go ahead.
TJ Hawkinson.
First on my list for their waiver wire podcast this week, episode 161. Join Rosterwatch for cheaper than a fair trade cup of coffee a month, guys. These guys do great work. Big Hawk. Rock out with your Hawk out. Alex and Byron both are bullish on Hawkinson as a young Gronk. Says, of course, that he's a generational talent, and Byron has put the idea out that he's the best receiver on their offense. Season long says, go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard him even called Gronkinson at this point. I mean, there's
Gronkinson.
Yeah. No, I mean, TJ Hawkinson was a great call Byron made in the preseason. In the rankings that I kind of developed, I even pushed him up myself based on his analysis to number 4 overall. After those big 3 running backs were gone, I liked him as the 4th overall player in rookie ranks. But unfortunately, it happened that analysis happened after we drafted in our dynasty league. So, but he looks, I mean, you want a tight end in year 1 to show a pulse. Not only did this guy show a pulse in year 1, it's been game 1 and he just dominated. Of course, we want to see if he does it again, but he looks like a combination of Travis Kelce and Gronk. He does it all. They took him 8th overall. I mean, if he was on your waiver wire, they were talking about like 30%. I mean, there's no number that's too high to go get him. I think that 75% of budget would have been fine because tight end is such a wasteland as it is. And if he's on your waiver wire for some reason, just like he got overlooked, it's an all-in play.
Hawkinson, 9 targets, 6 for 131 and a touchdown. Sealy Shane is pulling up his player profiler right now. 6'5", 251, 4'7", 40. He's got incredible agility for a man his size. A generational talent, again, not seen since Gronk. They went on to discuss Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber. Obviously, one of the biggest issues in the offseason this year was Ronald Jones in line for the number 1 role. But Byron referenced his time at training camp and saying it how Barber was always the guy. And if you were following Rosterwatch 100%, like of course we do, we knew that from the beginning. Now, at the end of your drafts, if you could draft Ronald Jones as a pure upside play, that was great. But if you went 0 RB, you had to stash Peyton Barber. We are basically seeing Bruce Arians come to life here. Shane Sealy. His coaching style is one that is very, very easy. It doesn't matter who you are. And they said this on the Thursday night game recently. Bruce Arians likes guys with a motor that love the game of football, that really try hard every day. And it's just like Bruce Arians to start a guy like Peyton Barber over Ronald Jones, a 2nd-round pick, because Peyton Barber hustles hard. Sealy, Shane, what do you got to say about Peyton Barber this week going off?
You know what I hate is he actually kind of looked good yesterday. You know, that's the worst part. If he looked poor out there, was running into walls, couldn't break away from tackles, then at least we could be screaming at our screen doing like, what are you doing? I mean, like, don't kill Peyton Barber like you would kill, say, OJ Howard. But instead, he actually looked freaking good. He got that touchdown, which frankly was all him. He like evaded like 3 or 4 tackles on that touchdown run. He looked good. He was getting first downs. I mean, man, just last week, we were talking about how Ronald Jones was going to ascend to the starting running back in this offense. And then Peyton Barber comes out and he freaking produces. I mean, when Jones touched the ball, he looked decent, right? Like he had, I think, that 1 10 or 11 yard run, but he just didn't look as good as Peyton Barber. And ultimately, Barber was the one on the field at the end of the game when they were trying to kill the clock a little bit, right?
Well,
so
who do you think will have a more successful NFL career, Ronald Jones or Darius Geis?
Don't
Ew.
why you gotta tease?
Well,
I mean, think about it. With everything you know right now.
Soon.
Well, no, with everything you know right now, if both of those players were available for you for free in a dynasty league, which one of those players would you trust more?
Geis could have a 3-year career season for Ronald Jones in like half a season if he actually comes out there. Like,
okay, so once that Matt said Geis, just snap call. Who would it be? Would you rather have Ronald Jones or Geis for dynasty?
So you're asking me or Matt? Oh,
yeah,
me.
I'm asking. Yeah,
Geis, man, dude, that's what I'm trying to say. Geis, hands down. Like I said, Geis could look. Geis is injured again. It kills me inside. I got him in a couple dynasty leagues. It's very painful. But the thing is, this guy he's going to be that sweet fruit that once you get finally through like the hard coconut, you open it up and you find the sweet, sweet juice that is Darius Geis. Darius juice.
Juice. Now, here's the thing, Sealy Shane, and I think what you're trying to basically say is that guys could have in one season collectively what Peyton Barber could really reach over maybe a 3-year span.
6 games, dude. 6 games, a 3-year career of Ronald Jones. I think.
Guys has clear upside to be a number 1 RB, top 12 in the league for years to come if he can just stay on the field.
So here's just a thought, okay, guys. So right now, I wouldn't say Washington is exactly a sexy team out there, right? Like we love Terry McLaurin, we love Trey Quinn, but right now it's not a very exciting offense. But next year, when Dwayne Haskins steps in and he's a starting quarterback for that team, they've got a year under their belt with Terry McLaurin. Trey Quinn at this point has had 3 years in the league, over his 3rd year. If guys can actually stay healthy, they've had a good defense for the last couple of years now. Like this could be a team that turns itself around in one season.
Especially if Haskins really comes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, shoot, by the end of the draft, like we were approaching the draft, there was actual legitimate talk that Dwayne Haskins was the best quarterback on the board.
Yep, 100%, Shane. You're right. And guys, Geis is a conundrum right now, and if you got him, you got to hold him. But if you don't, you're probably happy. You're kind of avoiding this trouble this season. But continuing on to Rosterwatch's show, here's the real question: if Jamison Crowder is available on your waiver wire sheet, is he not? I mean, I think he had like the highest amount of targets ever in NFL history.
Yeah. No. Targets without getting 100 yards.
Yes, without getting 100 yards. You're right. Yeah. So now with the information that Darnold is out, I mean,
Trevor Simeon's actually not bad. Everyone's like, oh, Trevor Simeon, but he actually declined an invite to the Pro Bowl that one year that he was good. He's a very capable backup. He's one of the better backups in the NFL. And Adam Gase is not going to change what he does. And what he does is he's designing plays for the wide receiver that he chose to bring in, which was Jamison Crowder. And until Chris Herndon gets back, at least for the next 4 weeks, they're gonna continue to feed Crowder, and he's going to be a prime end zone target with Quincy Enunwa out. Jamison Crowder is my plan for him, where I own him, is to just ride him out. He's going to have a great week next week, an even better week the week after. They're on a bye week 4, and that's when I'm going to try to sell Crowder if I can to an unsuspecting owner, maybe mainly Shane Sealy.
How?
We'll probably need wide receiver help at that point. The way that my freaking teams are looking.
Because Herndon's going to be coming back in week 6, and I think Herndon's just going to like step right in. And you're just going to be like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, like if Crowder continues to be just like absolute PPR monster, I mean, why would they stop what's working? Like Quincy Enunwa's out. The neck issue is out for the season now. So it's going to be Crowder. It's going to be Bell, I guess, as well. But I think they're just going to be better, and it's probably going to be better for the entire offense when Herndon's on the field.
Well, Byron says definitely out if you have to bid on Crowder at the top end of the sheet this week, like a Hollywood Brown. Byron says the best practice of the waiver wire cheat sheet honestly, is to rarely go after the top guys. And really what you want to be trying to do with the waiver wire is cycle a couple of the bottom tier guys every week until you hit on one of them so that you can save your waiver budget and also, just continue to flex when the opportunities are have arisen, if that's the correct term. Also, Rosterwatch's main idea is that we want to get through the first 4 weeks on top. We want a 3-1. We want a 4-0 so that we can negotiate from a position of strength. We want to flex on our league mates in trades because we are 4-0 and we want to go to that little squirmy 0-4 team. And we want to say, hey, 0-4, you have Kareem Hunt as your backup, your only backup. I got some guys for you. Says, do you think that we should really maybe back off the hype for week 1 this week and be ready to go for week 2, even though we're already past it? This is our Flex Finder cast already.
The waiver wire is like an overgrown front yard that like you mow it and then it grows back the next week. I mean, there's always going to be this big plot of hot free agents that you want, and then it gets picked clean, and then like I said, in week 2 it grows back and you do it all over again. I'm a big believer in spending early and spending big because you get the guys for the whole season. Yeah, there's always nice to have that hammer at the end so you can get Damian Williams in week 11 or 12 or whoever emerges this year. But oh my God, the rookie receivers who usually do nothing just went bananas. And then John Ross finally unlocked. I like the guys at the top. I don't mind spending and then using Byron's strategy from week 2 on, plucking off the dollar bargain bin.
So let me just kind of go through this right here. So the snap counts, touches, and targets tool on Rosterwatch is a golden tool. As we look into one of the highest end waiver ads this week in Hollywood Brown, are we a little afraid of the 18% snap share total? I mean, he was only in there for so many snaps. He was highly efficient. Alex thinks that they will let his foot continue to heal long term, and if they're going to be up big at one point, that they're just going to completely limit him because there's no reason to bring out your show pony when you're up 31-0. But Byron says when Hollywood goes off weekly, that sub 20% snap share can grow into a 60% snap share, and he's worth going up to get him at the value potentially that he is right now, even with such a big amount spent. Sealy _Shane, we have a Hollywood conundrum this week, and we have a commenter, Kevin S. Facebook page address. I will get it to you, brother, post show. Thank you so much for tuning in. He also said this a little bit ago.
Did I say boot? Do I say boot for real?
He said this. He goes, you didn't say you had a Canadian on here. WTF? He. I heard a boot, not about.
See, I didn't even know I said that. There you go. I'm learning about myself. You don't know your own accent, right?
We must be used to it.
Hollywood Brown from the Canadian. What do you think about him?
Okay, I agree.
He didn't even notice.
I didn't even notice, and that's the worst part. Okay, so here's the thing about Hollywood Brown. It's exactly what Alex said. Like, they're way up. They didn't need to work him. I mean, he's still nursing that foot issue. And last Friday before practice or at practice, they didn't keep him in, right? So they kept him out of practice to keep him healthy for Sunday's game. They did that again. They announced today that Hollywood Brown did not practice today, but that he is going to be good to go on Sunday. So I guess the thing is like, what other receivers do they really have? I mean, Miles Boykin has had a pretty amazing camp. I know that Byron was on this guy early, but I feel like the fantasy industry kind of fell in love with him. And this was a guy that at the start of rookie draft season was going in the 3rd round, maybe late 3rd round sometimes. And he shot all the way up to the end of the 1st, early 2nd round by the time draft season really started. So
Mark Andrews could be their number 1 receiver.
I mean, Mark Andrews went off yesterday or last week as well.
let's
God.
cover that. Let's cover
Okay.
that. I'm sorry. He interjected. Here's the thing. They were actually a little bit nervous about Mark Andrews because when you actually looked at their proprietary metrics on snap counts, touches, and targets, which I guess is not really proprietary, that's just stat counting. But they saw that actually Hayden Hurst and I forgot the other guy, Boyle, I think, were at a 50%, 56% snap share, and Mark Andrews actually only 48% snap share.
Can I jump in on the snap share thing just for a second?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Now there was an article circulating around Twitter, and it was talking about peeling back the layer of that snap share, because yes, is it important to be on the field in order to produce? Absolutely. But you have to look. I'd rather have a guy that's running 95% routes on 48% snaps than a guy that like OJ Howard, 99% snaps and no routes, So I think that it's important to talk about snap share, but it's also to look at the next level of that and how many routes are they running. So if my guy's only out there for half the game, but he's running routes, I think that's important. And Lamar Jackson is looking for Mark Andrews, and he's looking for him deep, and he's looking for him often. The touchdown was thrown by RG3, so that's a little disconcerting. You want him to, you want it to be Lamar Jackson, but I'm really excited. I would say I'd move if we were redrafting today. Mark Andrews would be what, tight end 6?
Yeah, he would be in the 8th round, I think.
I mean, I think you'd have to go up earlier to get him if you wanted him.
Man, that would be a flex on the league.
Over David Njoku, over Vance McDonald, obviously.
So let's just go through them. Go through them. You Kelsey would be 1.
Kittle.
Kelsey Kittle. No, wait, hold on a second. It would be Kelsey. I think Ingram would be 2 at this point.
Oh, at this very point, yeah, 100%.
If we were redrafting today, Ingram would be tight end 2.
But that's but I mean, you had
hindsight though, right?
You had 2 touchdowns called back for Kittle in the first
I'm
in the same drive.
In PPR leagues, which most of us play in, Evan Ingram is going to be the leading receiver with the most receptions.
All right.
That's true.
3 is Kittle. 3 is Kittle.
Yes.
And then, geez, at this point, it might be Mark Andrews at 4.
Right. That's my point. And then,
you know who it ain't?
Ertz would be there, right? Hunter Henry's out. Darren Waller would be maybe in the top 5 or 6.
Oh, Darren Waller would be.
Don't you guys feel like that's like a total buzz thing, though? Like, is that like legit? Well, I don't know. It's just these guys who you don't like. Yes, he had a decent preseason, but he comes out of nowhere and he's just going to become a top 5 tight end automatically.
Well, let me explain.
Hold on. It says let me end the Rosterwatch rewatch right now. Okay. To finalize the rewatch of Rosterwatch's waiver wire. Basically, they said wheels up for Darren Waller and watch out for that Noah Fant sneaky play. All season, Byron has scouted Noah Fant for a long time, has understood that Noah Fant is a dominant tight end. Give him some time. That's all Byron's saying. But wheels up for Darren Waller at Alan Seslowski. What? Go ahead, brother. Look at this guy on Player Profile.
Right.
Look at
that bar graph, man.
Here it is with Darren Waller. It's like once Antonio Brown left, you saw what Oakland looked like in week 1, and it's a very narrow passing tree. The offense is going through 3 guys. Josh Jacobs got 25 carries. That workload is Gruden said he's going to keep going with it. And then 2 guys got the targets. The chunk of the offense was run through Darren Waller, who had 7 receptions, and Tyrell Williams, who had 100 yards on about 6 or 7 receptions and a touchdown. Those are the
Tyrell
3.
Looked good too.
Yeah,
I mean, that whole offense looked great, actually.
Dude, Tyrell Williams was a top 15 receiver that one year when Keenan Allen got hurt. I mean, he's good. He's in his prime. They're paying him. He's the number 1 wide receiver. But Darren Waller is the number 2 receiver. Darren Waller is not a rookie. He's in his 3rd year. He's had
substance abuse issues.
Yeah, substance abuse issues. That's the thing.
Right, but he's
real substances, not
Yeah, I mean, a real man always uses real substances,
Right. He's in recovery though, and his story is just, is incredible.
It's a cool story,
and not to get off it, but sometimes you have to make the ranking before the actual reveal. We got a little peek behind that curtain. I mean, this is exactly how Gruden used Jared Cook last year. He got a shit ton of targets in the middle of the field, and now Waller's stepping into that role. If you do think that Waller's not going to end up with 85 catches. I mean, you'd have to take the over on 80, right?
Geez, that's a flex play right there.
I just got sold on Darren Waller. Wow.
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, okay, so let's get right into exactly why we all here today are savory, salty, just close to you, like a weird, creepy person. Deep flex plays are coming in from me this week. I have 3 of the trashiest, smelliest, deep flex plays, and I will go ahead and start with @AlanSaysLowski, aka #SeasonLongSays. Your first flex play on the week. We give 2 each with a deep flex, unless you're me and go 3 deep flexes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The
Alan
more we just kind of talked about him, but Tyrell Williams, I mean, he shouldn't even be your flex play at this point. He's your wide receiver too, with even more upside. But some people just are saying, is that a one-time thing? I mean, Tyrell Williams is going to get fed the rock, and Oakland is playing Kansas City, and we see what happens when teams play Kansas City. They have to play catch-up mode. Derek Carr. Remember, it wasn't too long ago. Derek Carr was being talked about in the MVP race. I mean, he's not as bad as everyone thinks he is. Tyrell Williams has been a top 15 finisher at the wide receiver position before. He's now the de facto number 1 there. If you got him in the 10th or 11th round, you made up for any bad pick you made in the first 5 rounds. I think that this guy's going to finish again as a top 15. Put him in your flex, and that's it, baby. I mean, it's plug and play every week with Tyrell Williams.
Says in most home leagues, you got Tyrell Williams if you wanted him very, very late. Very late. He is going to flex. You heard it here first @AlanSaysLowski, aka SeasonLongSays, with a flex play of Tyrell Gazelle Williams. You heard it here first. Just thought of that off the head. That sounds great. @Sealy_Shane of the Flex Network, baby. Flex play week 1. Who do you got?
All right. So a team that I am slowly buying into, slower than most, just because of all the friggin' hype. Dallas Cowboys, Michael Gallup. He went off last week. He had 7 receptions for 158 yards on 7 targets. That's pretty damn efficient. I mean, people are talking about how Amari Cooper is the 1A and that Michael Gallup is the 1B. So I'm buying into this guy. I like their matchup again this week. I don't think that Washington is they're an okay team, but they're not going to be able to stop them. They're going to be putting all the coverage on Amari Cooper. They're going to have to make sure they stop Ezekiel Elliott. I think Michael Gallup's going to have a great game.
That's a great
Galloping into week 2, baby.
Yeah,
with Michael Gallup. Go ahead, Seth.
That's a great call. And can you imagine if Michael Gallup is actually good? I mean, the Cowboys are going to have the most electric under the radar offense. I don't think it'll be before week 3 or 4 that we realize that this could be a greatest show on turf with Zeke as the Marshall Faulk and Dak, who's showed that he's he's very capable of doing 400 yards passing and maybe even a little more with the legs. This could end up being one of the most prolific offenses that nobody's been talking about until it's already realized. So great call by Shane.
Great call. Michael Gallup went off in week 1. Nobody was on him. Nobody. And we should have been, because we are the Flex Network. To
be fair, I flexed him in 2 of my leagues.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, what I was trying to say. My first flex play of the week is a trashy one. It is very trashy, but the stink smells so good. Okay. In week 1, with the Mustache Mountain, Gardner Minshew. This guy had 7 targets, touched it 6 times, 97 yards and a touchdown. Chris Conley with Gardner, the Mustache Mountain, Minshew. Flex on him. And here's the thing about your flex. Sometimes you want to go real deep and real high with your flex, okay? Like a swimming competition, like a dive competition. Chris Conley, bet you didn't know he had 4.3 speed. Bet you didn't know he might be faster than Tyreek Hill.
Look at that burst score, Matt.
Look at the burst score.
100th percentile.
6'2", 213, runs a 4.35. Are you kidding me?
I agree with this call, but how come he like never really did anything on the Chiefs? And you know, you can't say it wasn't the setup right because he had like the best quarterback. I mean,
yeah, he didn't have him till late though. He didn't have Mahomes till late, and at that point, he has already been worth too much money. Really,
I mean,
he was
for a failed career in KC.
He was the 2 last year. I mean, look at he's still got a freaking KC jersey in this picture.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't. I mean, again,
that's Sammy Watkins on there.
Yeah, no, I believe in Chris Conley and all the Jacksonville beat writers down here and all the local radio guys. They were all talking about how Conley, even in the preseason, and I know Byron and those guys had mentioned it, that he was going to be like the Jacksonville wide receiver to own in Jackson. He was going to be the receiver to own Jacksonville. I know a lot of people were on Dede, but he was the guy you got for free at the end of your best ball draft. I think that's a great call. It's just a mystery to me why he wasn't able to do it in Kansas City.
Well, here's the thing. Says, you know what's not a mystery to me? The facts. And according to Rosterwatch's snap counts, touches, and targets, guess who is the most targeted person in the entire Jacksonville offense after and during Nick Foles' entire demolishment? Guess who was the number 1 targeted person in that whole entire offense?
Was it Chris Conley?
It was Chris Conley.
Chris Conley.
Okay, here's the thing. What happened with a young quarterback last week in Arizona? Says Arizona, who led the entire Arizona offense for that young quarterback? Larry Fitzgerald. Says it was Larry Fitzgerald, a grizzled veteran.
It's amazing how like week 1 was all about like the rookies and the old guys.
It's actually a good point. Or it's cold, baby.
Well, I mean, Tom flexed.
Okay. At Alan Seslowski, your second flex play on the week, brother. Hit us with it.
And again, I don't think this is like such a bold call or anything, but you know, people drafted him aggressively towards the end of this running back towards the end of draft season. He was getting pushed up. He was probably on a lot of people's benches week 1, but I really like the setup for Devin Singletary this week. I think
Devin Singletary.
Yeah, Buffalo running back.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really good, and if he, you know, it's a lot of times people point to that he didn't have the metrics. He didn't, you know, what I call the sometimes the underwear Olympics, the combine scores. But remember,
the underwear Olympics. #underwear Olympics.
Yeah, but he went one like in the same round as like David Montgomery. I think he went like 1 pick after David Montgomery, and people are all excited about him. Devin Singletary, sometimes they just, you know, maybe they don't feel well that day, or they, you know, when they do the combine, or it's just they're not trained to do these agility drills, but when they get out on the field, they just play good football. Devin Singletary passed the eye test for me, and now I think he's set up where they're just going to start feeding him the rock. I mean, I read some sort of stat where the first 15 plays had everything to do with like Josh Allen running or throwing, or, you know, just they need to give it to Devin Singletary more. I think the coaching staff will lighten up to that. I really like him if you need to use him in any of your RB slots, and if you can use him in your flex, I mean, that's just a powerful move right there.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if you have Devin Singletary on any of your teams right now, he is going to be such an amazing flex play for you. I am having to flex Royce Freeman, and I have literally tried to trade Royce Freeman, Ty Montgomery, and a 3rd-round pick next year in Dynasty just so I can go out and get a Devin Singletary. Because when you're playing Royce Freeman weekly, you don't know. But Devin Singletary is going to hit. He's going to have opportunity.
It's not going to get it done. If you want to get Devin Singletary now, you'd probably
Of course I know it's not going to get it done, says. I'm trying to flex, okay? Geez, it might. Okay, I'm trying to sell. The idea that it's going to get it done. Come on.
What I'm saying is that in Dynasty, specifically, if you want Devin Singletary, you're going to have to give up like next year's first and a second to get him. And who's going to want to do that? But that's kind of his value is high, and it's only going to go higher. Sometimes, you know, if you really believe in the guy, and it was a guy in my home Dynasty that did, and he took him at pick 8 or 9 or something like that. And I think I missed out because I was off him as an early pick. I was up on the Montgomery and that. So, but I'm a believer now.
Well, yeah, of course. It was hard to be on Devin Singletary when at the beginning of all the Bills talk this year, there's definitely two guys that were there that really you don't hear about now. Well, one's on Kansas City's offense now, destroying Damian Williams' fantasy value, but the other one is TJ Yeldon.
He got nothing.
And
he got no.
He got nothing.
Yeah,
he had 0 targets for 0 yards and on 3% of snaps. It's clear they want to roll with Devin Singletary, and Josh Allen is a beast. We love Josh Allen. We've been touting Josh Allen the entire offseason. We like him. Go ahead, Go ahead.
No, that was it. You said it all. I think we got
a quick start two this week. Conley, Landry, Crowder, Metcalf, AJ Brown, David Montgomery. And now as I listen to the SiriusXM shows, I understand now why these questions are so hard, because you really just don't know what the structure is. Is this a 2 running back, 2 receiver in the flex? So now it's like I got to start one guy out of these 6. Well, it's like, Jesus criminy. It's like, that's a tough decision. So I'm, of course, going to let Shane answer first.
Okay, so I think that people were really spooked off by David Montgomery last week. It says, you said it all week, Green Bay had a better defense than we expected. And well, actually, than I expected. You thought it was they were going to have a great defense this year. So I don't think that you guys really have to be that scared. I mean, I think you're going to continue to give David Montgomery the ball because every time he touched the damn ball, he looked electric. He was always making a freaking play. So to me, it's definitely David Montgomery. And then it's tough because, I mean, you got
you had your choice. Alan says, Lowry, go ahead.
Oh,
he says three wide receiver, 2 RBs in a flex, full point PPR.
Yeah,
start
Crowder and Landry. It's for me. It's
over Montgomery.
Yeah, I like Montgomery. I just want to see him do it first before I throw him in there. Because if I'm 0-1, I'm just not happy I'm just not like really confident putting him in there. Sure, it could go wrong, but if it goes right, you're like, okay, great. I got a guy that it's going to be all year for me. Right now, if I need a win this week, which you do, especially if you're 0-1, and Crowder and Landry, just put them in there. PPR machines. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the boring pick. That's the boring pick. But here's the thing, guys. At Alan Seslowski is not a loser at fantasy football. That is why he is on the Flex Network. But, of course, if you listen to me, I'm going to pick the sickest plays of the week, and I like Conley and A.J. Brown.
My God.
What if Mariota is no longer bad? What if Mariota is good? Nobody's talking about the fact that Mariota threw 3 touchdown passes last week. If we started him in the flex, in any league, Mariota would have flexed all over the entire league.
It's a little deceptive, and I thought Mariota looked good too, but those were short passes that his receivers took to the house.
It doesn't matter. It's PPR. Short passes, I'll take them all day. Austin Hansen also writes in that he has Barkley and Carson as other 2 backs, and he has Evan Ingram. So, of course, he was listening to this podcast before he drafted because he flexed on his league. We have another one earlier in the podcast that we didn't get to that I will go ahead and put here. 10-team full PPR, 2 quarterback, 2 flex, wide receiver, running back, and other flexes, wide receiver, tight end. Kerryon Johnson or Courtland Sutton. What a great... Now, listen, guys, I'm going to tell you, for anybody who's listening, we do a start-sit show for game day morning. We're going to now flex it to 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Right after, if you follow our show, you should go subscribe to SiriusXM and listen to Rosterwatch's game day episode 1 hour earlier, which we will be live answering start-sit questions directly after their show ends. And we do this. So thank you guys for your comments. We really do appreciate it. Again, my bad. Kerryon Johnson or Courtland Sutton, and I think at this point you can't start Kerryon Johnson with any confidence, can you, Shane?
It's the exact same conversation we just had about Devin Singletary. Oh, not Devin Singletary, David Montgomery. I mean, these are guys that have had buzz all off season, and they came out in the games, and we were all excited, and then they kind of just let us down a little bit. So I would still go Kerryon Johnson. Again, I tend, when it's close, to favor the running back. But Cortland Sutton is clearly, I think, the best wide receiver on that team right now. Emmanuel Sanders, he got the late touchdown, but it was kind of a dirty touchdown. He looked good. Cortland Sutton looked good. But I would flex towards Kerryon.
Says.
Yeah, I mean, Kerryon Johnson. Oh, these are two great players. I mean, in a PPR, that's you got to add more flex spots so you don't have to make this decision. But I would go Kerryon Johnson too. But I mean, it's a 50-50 call. It could easily be wrong.
What if Kerryon Johnson is better than Cortland Sutton is better than Kenny Golladay?
I mean,
Kenny Golladay.
That's a foregone conclusion.
He's better than Kenny.
Yes.
I don't think that's a foregone conclusion that he's better than Kenny Golladay. I don't think that by any means.
If you
Cortland Sutton was drafted in the 8th to 10th round. Kenny Golladay 5th round. I mean, his upside is Babytron is high.
Just because the market thought that doesn't mean that it's
all I'm saying is yes, the market thought that. I'm saying that I'm now willing to say that conversation is a real conversation, but that's only a conversation you're having here on the Flex Network.
Right. Well,
okay.
Think about this. Where would Cortland Sutton go if we redrafted today? I mean, that's really what you have to think about. And he would go in the 4th round.
Again, I mean, that's a great says we should bring that on as a part of our Flex Network podcast every time, because you're right. I mean, after week 1, yeah, but every week that changes. I'd like to see where that conversation hits after mid-season. So thanks guys for your questions. We're going to move on. Shane at Sealy _Shane for your second flex play of the week.
All right. Well, so this week I looked at the stats of the player that I had sitting on my bench. Thank God I didn't start him, but this is a guy that people were probably getting as the number 2 wide receiver in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I think that Dante Moncrief this week is a guy that you should flex. This is a guy who got 10 targets last week. 10 targets. He had 3 receptions for 7 yards. He had a whole bunch of drops. He dropped that one that was in his freaking hands in the end zone.
Literally in his hands.
It was literally in his hands. I think it was a cross.
And they always say look the ball in, and it was like you saw him on tape in slow-mo literally look the ball in.
So why do you want to go back to him? I mean, he looked like he was horrendous. I mean, if you can sell me here, I'm going to put him in a DFS lineup because he's going to be 0% owned.
That's okay. There you go. So that's a big one. Look, the bottom line is the Steelers were just off. Their entire offense was off. We've seen Dante Moncrief in the past be successful in different offenses. I don't think he quite ascended in the Jacksonville one last year like we thought he might, but this is a guy who is very talented. Again, he's the number 2 receiver. And we saw just last week that John Ross, who plays typically on the right side of the field, lit up the field. He went nuclear, as Byron always says, the nuclear option. And I think that Moncrief, who also plays the right side of the field. I think that obviously they're going to be trying to blanket Juju Smith-Schuster. They still, again, have to watch out for James Conner in the backfield. Man, I think he's going to have a great game. I think they're going to get another 10 targets this week, and he's just too good of a receiver to have that many drops.
Well, if you're taking Shane's advice, and you know what, he's been right about a lot of things, so I don't ever doubt what he says. Go to your waiver wire right now because he was dropped in most leagues. If you look at his ownership percentage, it went from like 88 to like below 50. He's on your waiver wire right now, including all the leagues that I play in because I dumped him, and I think I might go pick him back up based on what you just said.
You have to hold on. Shane says
go ahead.
10 targets. Highest targeted athlete on the field for Pittsburgh, and also 90% snap share. Yeah. So as a receiver, you had said earlier, you'll take a guy who's 48% snap shares running targets. Well, he's a receiver. I mean, most of his snaps, I mean, I don't know that I guess he's blocking. He can block, but I mean, geez, 10 targets. He only caught 3 of them for 7 yards. I mean, even if he does just not even that much better, but he catches everything that comes to him. I mean, geez, he might be in line for an 8 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. Who knows?
Well, you know what it is? No one's better at taking away the number one option on an offense than New England. I mean, everyone tries to do it, but New England actually does it. And they took Juju Smith-Schuster just out of the game, more or less. And it's what they do to every number one option. And that left Moncrief with opportunity. And he didn't deliver on that opportunity at all. I mean, he looked horrible. So if the Steelers still believe in him, and I don't see why they, to Shane's point, why they would go from him just after one bad outing, and it was a very bad outing. But there's other hungry young options there, and that's what I'm nervous about. The James Washington, the rookie Johnson that they drafted, and Ryan Switzer caught all 6 targets that were thrown his way. So it's a risky play, but if it hits, I mean, you're going to be the only one that has it. And I believe in Shane's analysis. So I'm going to go back and pick him up in a few leagues.
I think just to put that last little, the bow on it here, Al, is that Mike Tomlin's a guy, I think, who likes veterans in the locker room. And so I think that he's going to give him a pat on the back, say, listen, you had a shitty game, man, because, he's a player's coach. Now fucking get back out there and let's go again. That's the kind of coach that Mike Tomlin is. And I'm confident that if he believed that he was his number 2 wide receiver a week and a half ago, I think he still believes that he's his number 2 wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, I mean, this is
flexed.
Yeah, no, he'll probably get the opportunity again. Obviously, if he squanders it, then maybe in week 3 it's a problem. Yeah. All right.
Well, and let's give you more proprietary information from yours truly, who lives in Seattle. Shaq Griffin's a good cornerback. Okay, Seattle might be able to do the same exact thing to Juju Smith-Schuster this week as they did last week, which means Moncrief might be in line for it. Look at John Ross. John Ross's entire waiver just probabilities this week were against Seattle's defense last week. Potentially suspect.
Still
get Moncrief as a flex play. My second flex play this week comes from the same game. Guess who got 8 targets and 13 touches on the ground? 85 yards total. Targeted in the wide receiver game and on the ground, pretty much establishing that he was the best running back on the team, on the field at that time. Sexy Rex Burkhead as my second flex play of the week. Everybody talks about Sony Michel. Everybody talks about James White. Rex Burkhead, not the best statistical running back in the league, but tell you what, the New England Patriots love them some sexy Rexy Burkhead. And if you believe that they're going to just be up heavy 45-0 on the Miami Dolphins this week, then you have to believe that Rex Burkhead is getting the entire second half workload for that game. Sexy Rexy, you are my second flex play of the week, Alan says Lowski. I can see it in your eyes, man.
I love his haircut.
You love the sexy Rexy.
Oh, I love his haircut.
His haircut?
I mean, we go to the same barbershop.
You guys love each other, don't you? Because he is so sexy.
Cheers, right?
Oh, double haircuts on the Flex Network. Of course, I'm not going to show you mine because I'm easily the best looking one on the cast.
And it's not even close.
Not even close. Sealy_Shane. Rex Burkhead this week, brother. What do you think?
I mean, listen. Okay, my hat's not straight. There we go. Rex, you are going to put up a monster game again because people don't understand. The Patriots don't give a shit about your fantasy team. So what's going to happen when they get up inevitably big against Miami? They're going to save Sony Michel, man. They're going to save him for when they need him, like in the Super Bowl. So what are they going to do?
He's got a hurt knee, I think, or a hurt other knee, or hurt foot, or something.
A little bit, it's systemic, right? Like he's had
Rex Burkhead, 100% start this week.
Baby.
Flex him over Christian McCaffrey. Oh wait. Oh, wait. What a flex play. What a real flex play. We got Rex Burkhead over Christian McCaffrey.
I did not say Fook. I did not say Fook, okay, Kevin?
Okay, Kevin S. with the comment at Canadian Beastie Boy. He said Fook, not fuck. Ba wa ha ha ha. I love this show. Thank you. Of course, we love you too. And he totally did because he's Canadian. At Alan Says Lowski, what is your Now, listen, guys, if you're still tuning in, we have our Survivor content to go over to end the cast, and we might bring on the geek himself who potentially wants a big coin. Big coin, not Bitcoin. That shit you can't get. Big coin is what you can get if you follow the Flex Network and at DFS Army playing daily fantasy football with at Kevin the Football Geek. I think that's what it is. I don't know what it is for real. It's something like that. But follow him. He might be coming on to grace us with this tremendous win and just pull his pants down and just stand on, just pull, he flexed last night.
Bill, real quick.
Alan Says Lowski, you're deep flex play on the week.
Geek said send them the link, by the way.
Send Geek the link.
Yeah,
he's coming in.
F football.
Not right
Geek.
now. We're gonna bring in him right now. We're gonna bring in the Geek right now.
Yeah. While you're doing that though, you want the deep flex play.
Deep
so
play.
You know me. I have this thing for tight ends, and I have this thing for tight ends on the bottom of the where the garbage juice lays.
Wait a second. So did you just say you have a thing for tight ends on the bottom?
Mm-hmm. I did say it. I did
you
say it.
did say
I
that.
like the dirty tight end bottoms. Yeah. No. You know what? He was overlooked. Nobody wants him. He's still on everyone's waiver wire. And Tyler Higbee on the Rams was paid like a top 10 tight end this offseason. The Rams are designing plays for him. I know everyone was like Gerald Everett, but the Rams showed their, with their actions, he scored a touchdown, and now they're playing New Orleans where they're going to have to keep up. It's going to be a high scoring affair. I think it's a pretty high under over. I don't have it in front of me, but Tyler Higbee, man, he could be a very useful tight end in fantasy. And if you're in a lot of deep leagues like we are, if Dynasty League, go get him. I just picked him up everywhere this week after he scored a touchdown. Nobody even was thinking about him. He hasn't been on, this is the type of guy that, he's in his age, his year 4. Tight ends break out in year 3, year 4. He's got all the proper measurables. He's still young enough. I love Tyler Higbee as a very deep flex play.
I love Higbee as well. And in this week, just like you said, at Alan Says Lowski, follow him on Twitter at Alan Says Lowski, a.k.a. hashtag season long says, a.k.a. your favorite sauce at Szechuan sauce is what we're going to eventually change his thing to. But you love the sauce. At Alan Says Lowski has the sauce, and he just spread it all over all of you with his lovely tight end on the bottom of the waiver cheat sheet this week. Tyler Higbee in a game against the New Orleans Saints. He caught a touchdown last week. I think he caught 4 for 40 yards and a touchdown. That's a flex play, especially if you're in a tight end premium league. This is 2 for 2. We are hoping to go 2 for 2 on at Alan Says Lowski's tight ends. This guy loves tight ends. Okay. He knows them. He loves them. He spreads butter on them.
Yeah, Geek, he always tells me, he's like, "What's your obsession with the deep tight end plays?" I just feel like that's like one of the I just get deep in the tight end. Now I don't know. There's a hidden value at the bottom of that tight end barrel. There really is.
Oh my gosh! At Sealy_Shane, should I hold my nose for your deep flex play?
Originally, yes. But I think this is a guy that a bunch of people probably picked up on their waiver wires, but they're too damn scared to play. And that guy to me this week is Mecole Hardman. And the reason I think that people are going to be scared to play him is because they all saw Sammy Watkins put up like 46 points in PPR leagues. And people are saying, well, Travis Kelce is going to eat up all those targets. Damian Williams is going to eat up all those targets. Demarcus Robinson is going to be the 2? What? Are you kidding me? No, right? I think that they went out, they got Mecole Hardman in round 2 of the NFL draft this year when they thought that their cheetah, Tyreek Hill, was not going to be on the field. So what did they go out and get? They invested in a Jaguar. That is Mecole Hardman. I think that Mecole Hardman is going to go, you can pretty much book like a 40-yard touchdown with this guy.
Ooh.
And
Bold
yeah,
call.
absolutely.
I like
book it, Al. Book it. We're building DFS lineups. We got Mecole Hardman. We got Dante Moncrief. We got Tyler Higbee. Ladies and gentlemen, you pay up at the other positions and you win, for God's sakes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good call. Hardman, there was an article that came out that was floating around social media today. It was talking about, Andy Reid was saying how you don't have these players for long because of how free agency works. And when you have them, you have to use them. They paid a second round price. They're presumably a Super Bowl contender. So they're going to use him. And now it's the exact reason they got him, because they moved up and drafted, Kansas City moved up and drafted Mecole Hardman when they weren't sure that Tyreek Hill was even going to be with them for the season. And, they may not have made that pick had Tyreek not been in hot water at all. But now it's a luxury pick. The guy could play football. He hasn't been playing football too long. He's one of those guys that hasn't been playing his whole life. Super speedster. I think it's a great call. I'm actually being forced to play him in our dynasty league that we all play together, where I have Tyreek Hill. Yep. So I just think it's such a smart call, and I think you're right. People are going to be nervous to play him, but I think it'll pay off too. That's a really awesome deep call, Shane.
So guys, again, we got a lot going on right now. We literally, listen, everybody listening, we have our Sunday morning what? Oh,
okay.
Sorry. We have a start sit, of course, show Sunday morning where we will go over all of your start sits. We have 3 or 4 of them coming in right here. Metcalf or Ross over McLaurin. Go McLaurin, I think. Hardman over Miles Sanders. I don't know. I mean, we are going to answer these. Okay, drop James Washington for Moncrief. He threw a big question mark, and we will answer these, but go ahead for this one, because I think this one was just connected 100% to what we're doing. Drop James Washington for Moncrief, for Doncrief.
She's still the number 2, man. I would do it. If you had to choose.
We should. I think Alan Seslowski says he's going to pick up Moncrief right now in the league. Alan Seslowski, should we drop James Washington for Moncrief?
I mean, I wasn't going to do it, but Shane convinced me to do it, so yes. But I mean, I'm standing behind Shane, telling you to do yes. He's the one with stake in this game.
Awesome. How about we
have our special guest, right?
Before my last trashy flex play, adding in.
Oh, here he is.
How the hell did I get here?
Heavier in the pocket.
Look who knocked on the door.
I was just recording a completely different podcast. What is this? How did I get here? What's up, guys?
The cat dragged in. He is at F Football Geek. Now, Geek, again, I'm just going to put you over just like every single time. Okay. The Geek went out and he flexed last night. Just a simple everyday mark for the Geek over at DFS Army. Again, you can follow the Geek at F Football Geek. Geek, go ahead and spread your Szechuan sauce over everybody.
We talk about the big win from last night. You got the graphic. You want to throw that up?
Yeah, Shane's gonna go get it, but just you were playing a little 1-game slate DFS. You put in your lineup and take it from there. Take us through from the lineup selection process all the way.
Really small.
Really small.
There it is. Well,
not the win. The win wasn't small.
Well, basically, all right. So you see the lineup there. So last night's single game. I love single game contests on DraftKings and FanDuel. They're super winnable, right? So last night we were watching this game, and you got the Panthers going. You've got the Bucks going. You've got a narrative that Jameis Winston sucks now, right? That's going into the game. That's what we knew, right? There's a narrative, right? Everybody wanted to use Christian McCaffrey because he went full blast beast mode the week before and seemed like an unstoppable force. So generally what happened was everybody was playing Christian McCaffrey in the captain spot, which gives you 1.5x your points.
Wait, that's important for everyone to know that. By the way, Geek won $23,000 last night. Let's just start
Yeah,
with
okay.
that.
It's taking him a little bit long to get to the dude. He won $24K almost last night.
I mean,
Jesus.
dude,
listen, for us Canadians, that's a shit ton of money, man.
What is that, like 50,000 Canadian?
50,000 Canadian.
I mean,
can you turn your mic down just a smidgen?
Yeah, turn
bro?
the gain down on your mic.
Turn the gain down a little. I know you're excited about your
gain.
You guys keep telling me to turn the mic up, turn it down. Jeez.
Turn it down a little bit.
All right, hold on. This is going off the rails. Can I just take a little bit of control of this for a second?
Please,
all right.
The
fantasy football geek, who is a DFS aficionado of DFSArmy.com.
Our DFS aficionado for the Flex Network.
He's our.
Any of the Flex Network listeners are being diverted to the DFS Army page right now. If you guys really want to win money in daily fantasy football, you follow at F Football Geek and at DFS Army and slay everybody in the world, not just your local leagues.
Okay. So this guy, the fantasy football geek, aka Kevin Allen, he won almost $24,000 last night on a single game slate. And he's pretty calm about it. I would literally go in and quit my job if this happened.
Says quit his job today, basically.
Says wants to quit his job because I won. I'm like, dude, you didn't win. What are you doing?
You get no cut of this. Don't quit your job and you need a day job.
So now get into the weeds a little bit here. Everyone, and so there's in the contest you're in, there's a captain spot where one guy can get 1 times X's points. And why would you fade Christian McCaffrey if that monster week we just had?
So I did not fade Christian McCaffrey so much as I said, all right, this was my philosophy going in. I said Christian McCaffrey being the most expensive guy on the slate, one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to be the highest scorer, in which case putting him in the captain spot will win you all the monies, or he is going to dud. And being that he was the most expensive, what I said was for the line. So the first thing I did was I went to the Vegas props and I looked at the game prop for what are his chances of scoring a touchdown, because I figured Vegas knows better than I do. Vegas had a 70% odd of Christian McCaffrey scoring a touchdown in the game. So what I took that number and I said, all right, if they're saying only 70%, then that's the odds I want. I'm going to put him 70% in my captain spot. If he gets the tutty, he's probably going to be the highest scorer on the game, especially with that kind of game with sort of weird weapons. But if he doesn't score because he was most expensive, the key move was not using him in the lineup at all. So I either had him as my captain 70% or I didn't use him at all. And that was the key to the lineup itself, right? That was the strategy. So the winning lineup, now Christian McCaffrey completely dudded. Completely. The winning lineups did not have Christian McCaffrey in it. So that was the key to the slate, because you have to understand what can happen. There's so few combinations and what can possibly happen. Now I will say this, I was shitting a brick.
Dude,
at the end when C-Mac, gets knocked out of bounds on that 4th down play.
Jesus, yes.
Shitting a brick. Not to say that would have knocked me out, but had he scored, that brings the Bucs offense back onto the field, and all kinds of crazy things can happen. So I just wanted it to end. I was in second at that point. I'm like sitting on 23,000. I'm like, yeah, and motherfucker. There was a moment when I was in first place. And it, that was 53,000 because I was in a tie group with about 8 or 9 other lineups. So that was about 50,000.
So I just want to help understand the winning pools, because I talked to a lot of guys at work about your win today, and as we all should do, we should spread our fantasy knowledge amongst all. But you were saying you split first place with 8 guys if you were in first place at that time, and you're saying the win was 50. So if you were to have won first place solely, you would have gotten 8 times 50 grand as your first place winner. Is that how it works?
No, not exactly. Because remember, if 11 people on first, they're taking first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and 11th. So you're taking that entire group of money. The first place guy who did win solo, a single edge, and I'll tell you what he did, but he won solo. He won 250,000. What he had different than my lineup was he actually left 1,500 on the table of salary, played the kicker from Carolina, Slay, rather than when you could have afforded somebody like a DJ Moore or somebody like that, or Godwin or one of those guys, and that kicker outscored those 2 wide receivers by a couple of points. So that was the difference between the 250
That's a
And
crazy move.
and the other thing. Now, one other thing to mention, which is really cool. Now, I use the DFS Army Domination Station optimizer to create the lineup, right? 2 other DFS Army subscribers hit the same exact lineup. One guy hit it in the same $10 contest, but there was a second one that came out with only 30,000 entrants. He won 13,333.
Jesus.
Another guy hit it. He was a mini-max guy, so he's just playing in the 50-cent entry contest. He won $433 on his 50-cent entry. Not bad.
By the way, that's my worst nightmare, is having a lineup that's good enough to win 25K and only winning 400. I never enter those 50.
Turn your mic down real quick. Turn your mic down, Geek, a little bit more real quick. But
I'm saying I just want to say I just never entered those contests, those $1 ones, because if I ever won one, I would throw myself out of a building.
It's good practice. I disagree with what you're saying. It's good practice. There's a 5-cent contest going right now on FanDuel, literally 5 cents. Now you might say, well, I'll be pissed if I beat 400,000 people in a 5-cent contest and win like a couple $100. But the reality is, you don't want to start putting out $1,500 on tournament lineups on, like, if I'm playing Fortnite, for example, and I've never played it, night one, I don't want to start betting against people who've been playing that shit for years. Like, I never even played. Like, you got to learn it. It takes a while. So the best way to learn is in real live action, and you can learn on a 5-cent game. So there's nothing wrong in playing with those small contests for that reason. It's just learning the technique. You don't want to jump in full blast and start busting out with $1,500 a night, because you'd be broke real quick.
Well, hey, Geek, can you describe to the viewers that will watch this, is how can DFS Army help you learn the game of DFS on top of help you win the game of DFS? Because obviously, if you subscribe to DFS Army, which again, we recommend every one of our subscribers to subscribe to DFS Army's subscription service. Again, do you have content for everybody? Do you have content for the guys that want to get into it and learn it? And then also just use the plays. That's how you learn. You learn and you win. That's what you do.
We do it different. So daily fantasy sports is a big deal out there. It's been out there for a while. There's a few other sites. I'm not going to say a lot. There's maybe 3 or 4 other sites that are of a similar nature to what we do. Maybe I'll even say 5, but we do something a little bit different. So most of those other sites, they have really, a site will either have really good tools, like, actual tools that you need, like optimization tools, breakdowns, projections. I don't think anybody's projections compare with ours, but like optimization tools, stuff like, they'll have good stuff, but they don't have anybody to really tell you how to use them or teach you the technique. Other sites will have like, great personalities and stuff like that, and players who are even good. They'll kind of do a breakdown pick sheet, but they don't have any tools at all. It's just like personalities and chat. So what we've done is we've combined it all, and we also make ourselves available, as Alan knows, Season Long Says knows very well. We make ourselves available to our subscribers. So the difference between like every other site and us is you can talk to me in DFS Army and ask me questions, and I answer them.
Oh, they talk to us. I'm answering when I get up to take a pee in the middle of the night. I'm checking the Slack chat and I'm answering questions.
That's right.
They always jump on when we do the start sits too now.
Yeah,
so great.
So Shane, did you have a couple questions for the Geek?
No, I mean, it's just like, how did you what did you start with? I mean, like for somebody who's new like myself, I've always been told like kind of build your bankroll through like cash games and that sort of thing. But it's like the exciting ones are like
dude, I saw a Geek just go like this.
Listen, cash games are hard.
No, we flex. We flex, Shane.
We don't
we give our entire life savings to this, and then we make it happen.
You've got to build yourself up. You've got to build yourself up. You've got to learn the game. Like I said, I love the example of Fortnite or Madden or whatever the kids are playing now. Okay, are people playing Madden 94 still? Is that still a thing?
Not 94. They're playing the new Madden.
Not 94. 94 is no longer a thing.
No.
All right,
I was a baby at 94 almost.
What about GoldenEye? Is that a thing still? No, right?
Golden Tee. You mean Golden Tee?
No, remember GoldenEye? You don't even
Golden
know it.
Rod.
That's crazy.
Goldenrod.
My point is, let's say there's a great online game of anything. This is a game. So any game, like anything else, you don't want to jump in and assume that you're going to be awesome at it. You've got to learn it. You've got to take your time. So you've got to pay your dues. That means coming in, you're going to bet. You're probably not going to do very well. But without a group like what we do without high-level projections, we can get somebody up to speed real quick, especially if they're a sharp learner and kind of understand gambling a little bit, understand probabilities. Those are the things that are really, really important. Like we have people come in and go, "Who the locks?" And then they're
say
gone.
it like that? Do
They actually say it like that?
Who
Who
the
the locks? And you already know. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
LOX locks.
Yeah. It's not the.
Well,
there's no
they mean
THE.
the lock players, the ones that are short of.
I thought it was talking about like, what am I putting on my bagel and cream cheese? Little locks on
Locks
it.
or yeah.
So you have those people who think that it's a money making scheme. It's not. It's a lot of hard work. You just like with season long. Think about how much effort you put into researching season long fantasy football. All off season, you're looking at these players and this, and you do mock drafts, and you put a lot of time and effort into it. That's what it is. It's a ton of time and effort. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's something you want to learn. And if it's your hobby and you're excited about it, then you have to have awesome tools and you have to learn how to use them. And there's very few places where actual pros, people who are highly ranked. If you look at me, I don't want to. I don't show you my other, but I don't want to pat myself. But I've always been in the top 100 for all of the people who are ranked, definitely for NFL. Every year, I'll be there again this year, I expect. So it's pretty rare that people are going to actually help you because you're their competition. But part of DFS Army, part of getting into DFS Army, and I talk about this with Cez a lot. I'm like, dude, thank you for doing these breakdowns for me on Monday night because now I know who to go after in our leagues together that I'm playing against you in. Well, that's part of the deal. Like, if you're going to share information, you're just going to do it with your team. That's how we do it. And we all win together a lot of times. Not all of us, but like if I'm doing well, there's usually 3 or 4 DFS Army subscribers who kind of also did well. And that's what we saw. That's what we saw Thursday night. We had 3 other people hit the exact same lineup in different contests. It didn't cost me a penny because they were in different contests than me.
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome. This is awesome for our fans of the Flex Network. You're right. Alan Seslowski and Shane put out a waiver wire pod on Mondays. It's more of a hey, let's recollect our thoughts on the games that happen and let's proceed to week 2. Where can everybody find you, Geek? I know you're at F Football Geek, but all the content, can we get a 10% off if they have a promo code flexed?
You can get all right, go to dfsarmy.com. You can use promo code flex. I will create this code after I get off the show. Sign up as a VIP. You need to be VIP in order to access the chat, which is the ultimate and the best part. That's where you can ask me a question. That's where you can talk to Season Long Says about your season long teams. That's when our whole team of I'm not even the best guy. We have the best NASCAR. I mean, every sport that you could think of. But
you guys have a tennis guy now, right? I
mean, we've got tennis, NASCAR, golf. We have sports like soccer. I didn't even know soccer was a thing, and it turns out it's a thing. Like, people are into soccer. Tennis, I only recently found out that we even cover tennis, and we got a whole crew. We got projections of the whole thing. It's crazy. So you go to dfsarmy.com. You sign up as a VIP subscriber. Use promo code FLEX from this podcast.
FLEX, Flex.
To support this podcast, right? To support the Flex Network. If you love the Flex Network, you want to support them. This is how you do it. Get into DFS Army. Start. Hey, we all love fantasy sports, right? That's how I got into it. I just love fantasy football. I'm no different than you guys. I just love fantasy football. I didn't have enough leagues, so I'm like, I want more action, baby. What's this FanDuel in 2011? I'm like, fuck it, I'm playing this. Like, let me check this out.
For real, you're like everybody. You're a normal guy. You're a normal guy that
normal.
In fairness, I did
$1,000 last night, right?
Hey, I'm a normal guy. I'm like anybody else. What do you? I play in the Fantasy Dynasty League with you guys. I'm sure I whip your asses, but I play in it.
Geek, I have one question real quick, Geek. What made your heart beat faster? Winning that 23K last night, or when you took down our season 1 of our Dynasty League this year?
Let me tell you, that was not even a blip on the radar. But the
fucking worked us, dude. The whole entire
not
time.
Even a blip. But I will say, I rarely get my heart pounding. It's not common, but that 4th down play with Christian McCaffrey when they push him out of bounds, like I start. Like, I'm trying to do my notes and do other things and not really kind of like pay that, whatever. I'm trying to play it cool.
If it happens and it's bad, then you can never watch again. I mean, you don't want to risk that. I mean,
probability.
That happens all the time. I'll tell you, Monday night, I'll give you the same. On Monday night, the Monday Night Football game, I was in first place in the exact same contest, the $10 single game contest, and the pass to Manuel Sanders on the last play in the end zone for the touchdown knocked me out of first place. I was like cruising on like a first place. It knocked me down to fourth. I still won $1,200, but it wasn't enough to show you guys the screenshot.
$10 bet.
But it wasn't enough to show you the screenshot. You won't get a screenshot from me unless it's like 10 grand or 20 grand. Those are the fun ones.
Everybody
Yeah, no,
follow at F Football Geek. Follow at DFS Army, please. Hashtag DFS Army. Follow them, guys. This is for real. They got a NASCAR guy. They got a tennis guy. Whatever you're interested in. If you want to take your fantasy,
our MMA is better than I think. I think our MMA is the best in existence. There's no one better. Our MMA is ridiculous. Now, I got a question for you guys, fantasy football wise.
Okay.
Who's this Deion Kane guy from Indianapolis, and should I be rostering him this week in my daily fantasy lineups?
Well, it's funny you should ask because I took him off my flex plays this week upon the information of a certain player from today. But at Alan Seslowski is the one that is the complete truther upon Deion Kane. Please go ahead and tell the geek and everybody out there at Alan Seslowski what you think about Deion Kane this week.
Well, everyone loves Deion. Like Twitter loves Deion Kane. They want him to become a thing. He hasn't become a thing yet. So yeah, I mean, he's not expensive. I mean, he had all the measurables. He got injured. He suffered an injury where he was out his entire rookie year. They drafted Paris Campbell. T.Y. Hilton looked like he has complete chemistry with Jacoby Brissett, as we said on this podcast and many others. I want Deion Kane to become a thing too. I think I'm one of these people. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We need to see it first. Is he worth rostering in a large contest? Probably. I mean, but you usually fade stuff like that. Usually poo-poo those ideas when I say them to you. This guy, can't you go? Oh, yeah, he could.
Well, he's min salary. Like, he's the cheapest guy. You can't get cheaper than what he is.
Yes. Geek was talking about this earlier, and we don't want to flex our lineups on a 50-cent league. Okay, we want to make a formidable play to win $23,000. Last week, it was A.J. Brown. If you had A.J. Brown on your fantasy team in DFS and season long, yeah, we didn't see it from him week one. We don't have a week one. It is week one. He's a rookie. If you chose him to flex on your DFS leagues, then that's fine. Deion Kane says, this is your guy. Devin Funchess is injured.
Yeah,
and he had a lot of. I mean, Deion Kane says.
Yeah, no, it's here. It's just you know what it is. It's like Scatman Crothers in The Shining. I don't know if that's a little before your time, but Scatman Crothers spent like the whole movie trying to get to the hotel. And the minute he gets to the hotel, he catches an axe to the chest and he's dead right away. Like it's, that's kind of like Darius Geis in a way, right?
Oh my God.
So I'm just, Deion Kane, I've been talking about him for so long. I love the guy. I own him pretty much everywhere. I'm going to like really tighten my fingers. Now they're saying he's going to get an expanded role in the offense. Like I hope, but after what just happened to Darius Geis with this nice body blow again, I mean, all my guys. I hope, but I just don't know.
Josh Doxson.
No, hold on. That was the worst sales job of ever, says. He asked about Deion Kane, and you basically said, listen, dude, don't do that.
Wait, am I gonna be calling him Deion Scatman Crothers Kane now?
if he goes out there and tears his ACL right when he gets back, I mean, I hope not, but this is I'm still suffering from Darius Geis going on IR today, so I'm not myself when it comes to my optimism about my guys.
That trade where you moved up one spot in our dynasty league last year from third to second to get Geis in exchange for Mike Evans is not looking that great.
No, it is not.
Shit. Exchange for Mike Evans, who's
or Mike
maybe not the number one receiver on his own team anymore. So hey, hindsight, not the geek. I have the play for you. If Sez is out on Deion Kane,
I'm not out. He's
out. He's out. He's basically out.
Is this your deep flex play, Matt?
This is my deep flex play to end the podcast and to win your GPPs this week. I know it, geek. I knew the term
Give it to me.
GPP, Geek.
I
Guess
like it.
who went out? Guess who went out just today, Geek, with a concussion? Won't play this week. Who went out, Geek?
With a concussion. You're talking about Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard went out with a concussion. Guess who's questionable for the game this week, Geek? Guess who's questionable?
Move this
Other
along.
wide receivers? What?
The guy to play is Russell Shepard this week in DFS GPP. Guess who the highest target, the highest yardage? This is my ultimate flex play this week, Geek. The highest yardage of a receiver in an Eli Manning offense starting this week is Russell Shepard.
Holy the damn
6'1",
song.
which is 6'1", okay, 195, runs a 4.5 40, undrafted. This
29
guy
years
is
old,
a
Matt.
You're aware he's 29 and has never had a good game.
listen.
That's what you call poor process.
Cody Latimer is questionable. Might not play the game. Eli Manning may literally start the game with Russell Shepard and Benny Fowler as his top two receivers.
That might score like 12 points.
I have a feeling Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram are the top two receivers.
Yeah, what a hunch.
Think that, Geek,
This is what you pay.
This is what you pay the money for.
Flex Network, Geek. We flex. Now, let me tell you, Geek, I am not a king of DFS fantasy football like you.
No shit.
So, of course, I don't know if this is a real play in DFS, but let me tell you something, Geek. In season long, in the deepest of leagues, 16-team, 100 startable players a week, Russell Shepard, flex him this week at FFootballGeek. Tell us where everybody can find you. I'm going to get Geek out of here. I'm going to get all of us out of here. We're on an hour and a half long. Geek, we love you. Thank you. We can subscribe to DFS Army with promo code FLEX.
Promo code FLEX. Come with us if you want to win. That's all I got to say, man. You want to start winning on DraftKings FanDuel? You tired of losing? Get in there.
If you follow DFS Army on Twitter, you will find this guy. I think his name is like CG or something like that. This dude wins all the time. And this guy wins.
Do you know who he's talking about, Kevin?
Yeah, CG, Chris. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
CG, he wins so much. I follow this guy, and I feel like this guy's a hidden temple. He is a legend of a hidden temple because it almost seems like I watch this guy win every single week, and that is what DFS Army does. They bring together a collective of winners to help you win. Here's my hand. Please come into the DFS Army, and we will help you win. At FFootballGeek, sign off, Geek. What do you got to say, brother?
Guys, good luck this week. For you three who are in my Dynasty League, bad luck this week. But for everybody else listening, good luck. Kick some ass, crush, make some money, make some daily fantasy lineups. Don't forget that daily fantasy is a thing. When you finish with your season-long team, because you're already busted because you drafted Tyreek Hill, season-long, your daily fantasy lineup, you could draft a new one every single week. It's a beautiful thing.
Can you leave by just giving us one quick cash play lock?
Cash play lock this week? You want the cash lock? Tyrell Williams.
That was mine. There you go. I see. I know something. Yay.
Flexed. Okay, Geek, sign off here, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. We're going to talk Survivor. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Take care, guys.
You know what? I forgot. We have to talk Survivor real quick. I think it's a pretty easy. Thanks, Geek. You're the best, brother.
That was
Survivor,
fun. That was fun.
Dude, that was a great. Listen, if all of our subscribers do not already partake in at DFS Army, you guys are losing money. It's just what it is. You guys are losing money.
Not surviving.
Alan Sedlowski, last week, we were biting our nails over the Philadelphia Eagles Survivor play.
Don't watch the game. I got you there, though. I got you there.
Don't watch the game.
Yeah.
Alan says, Lowski, we're going to ride on the Golden Pony's back for another Survivor lock this week. Who is the Flex Network taking this week? But if I got a gripe with it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, no, I think that, the 19-point favorite, Shane's Patriots are definitely the play this week. Now, Matt suggested the Patriots early in the week, and I said, "Whoa, not so fast." I said, "Let's check out the percentage owned, the pot odds." And as it turns out, it's about the same. It leveled out. The same number of people are taking the Ravens, who are about an 85% chance to win favorite. And, when you translate the 19 points, that's about like a 90%. So it's about, 5% difference. Now, if people were going, if it was heavy New England, then I would suggest us pivoting to the Ravens. But I think the mentality, my guess is people are like, let me save the Patriots. But the problem is, as I've talked about many times, you don't want to save teams. You don't want to start with week 17 and work backwards to which teams you're going to take in Survivor. It's just not an optimal strategy. Let's not mess around this week. I know that there's been the Patriots have had some troubles in Miami, but they just this looks like the best Patriot team they've had in like the last 7 or 8 years. If we're all in agreement here, I think that we just don't mess around. We just move on and we take the Patriots.
Sealy_Shane. Do you think we should just take the Patriots?
Just take the damn money.
Says is trying to convince me that like only half the teams are going to pick the Patriots this week. Are you kidding me? Everybody's going to pick the Patriots this week.
Look, already in our pool, already 3 people took Carolina. They're out.
Yeah, they're out.
They're out.
Because they thought Carolina was a lock at home against fucking.
Right.
Well, that was stupid. Of course, that was a dumb move.
But people do dumb moves in Survivor.
They try to get cheap. They're thinking, Matt. They're thinking, what if everybody else takes New England? I'm going to get cute. I'm going to take somebody else. Let's not put the old banana in the damn tailpipe. Let's just choose New England.
Tailpipe. Oh no, that'll break your car entirely down. You will not be able to drive that car.
Right.
We don't want to do that. You're right. And I think that as I thought about this from at season long says, that's a future for him. At season long says that is in the future. And what he said last week is, guys, there's no need to get cute. You know what's cute is winning the money in week 8 because everybody else got cute. We just need to get to week 8. That's the key. That's the key to Survivor. We just need to move on. This week, we're going to pick the Patriots. I think if Bill Belichick loses to the Dolphins this next week, it will literally mark the end of an era if they lose this week.
Here, I pulled up the actual percentages. The Dolphins are, this is according to officepools.com. The Patriots are 30% taken and the Ravens are 29% taken. The next few teams were the Texans are 17% taken. And the Panthers were actually 11%. The Chiefs on the road are 4%, and the Cowboys on the road are 2%. And those Vegas odds, so basically the Patriots have a 94.7% chance of winning. The Ravens have 87% chance of winning. Why are we going to double that? That's another. It just makes no sense to pivot off. Now, if the Patriots were 60% taken, I would suggest the Ravens. But if it's 50-50, why not take the better chance? And not
only that, but what if the Ravens fall on their face this week?
I mean, anybody can lose. It's Survivor. Anybody can lose, man.
Anybody. At Sealy_Shane, thank you so much. Again, we are the Flex Network. Thank you for listening. We started our podcast off with the Rosterwatch rewatch. Please like and follow at Rosterwatch. Subscribe to their channel for no more than a cheap fair trade cup of coffee. And also follow at DFS Army at F Football Geek to win your DFS lineups every single week. Geek literally won $23,000+ at Sealy_Shane. I know that's where everybody can find you on Twitter, but thank you so much.
Thank you,
Can
Matthew.
you have your last sign off to an incredible week 2?
I'm excited. Listen, my hopes, my dreams are already destroyed. While Geek won a bunch of money, my Christian McCaffrey shares have pretty much plummeted me. So I'm just going to go. I'm going to enjoy my fantasy football weekend. I'm going to enjoy the easy survivor win with my Patriots.
Ooh,
Maybe
don't
I'll
say
have a
that.
beer.
Don't
Oh
say
no,
something like
oh
that.
no, Beetlejuice.
And yeah, I'm excited, man. And don't forget to come Sunday morning for your start sit questions. We'll be right here, and you guys can answer or ask your questions, and we'll answer them.
Start sit Sunday morning at Alan Seslowski. Can you please tell everybody your involvement in the Flex Network and DFS Army? Please follow everything. Let's get subscribed to at DFS Army with the promo code FLEX. At Alan Seslowski, ALANSESLOWSKY, baby.
You got
Sign
it, man.
off, brother. What do you have for us to end this majestic cast?
May all your ACLs stay strong and healthy.
ACLs need to stay strong. I am Flex Matt. Follow us at the Flex Network 1. Hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of us here pretty soon. We have the Waiver Wire podcast. Again, recording Monday night, dropping either Monday night, Tuesday morning to again help you through your waiver wire pickups. We have potentially a couple new ventures for the Flex Network coming to you live, hopefully very soon. Just follow us. We will see you Sunday morning for game day edition of the Flex Network. Start sits. Everybody, thank you for flexing on your entire league mates. Let's go win some money. We are the Flex Network.